Good morning. Ugh, good morning. Good morning. Gee, it's great to start your day with coffee with Karma today. Good morning and happy hump day. It is Wednesday, September 4th. And here we are. I'm going to be talking about discipline. And I don't mean the kind that you get when you're a bad person or when you're a bad boy or bad girl. No, I'm talking about the kind of discipline that helps you get your book done. Now, one of the biggest complaints I hear from my clients and my friends who are authors is that, and honestly, myself sometimes, is that you don't, it's not that you don't have the time to write your book, which is what I talked about on Monday, but it's you don't actually, when you have the time, you don't actually do it. Or you find other things to do to fill that time. Well, in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about 5 ways that you can build up your discipline so that you can get your book done. Hi, my name is Carma Spence, and I help executive coaches, business leaders, and consultants write, publish, and market client attracting books so that they can grow their business with dreamy clients. So, the first tip I've got for you is the word discipline. Reframe it. Because when I say discipline, it sounds heavy, and I think a lot of people think of discipline as doing something they don't wanna do. So what I'd like you to consider is reframing your mindset around the discipline of your book, and I just wanna touch base with my notes for a moment here. Alright. Your book should be an extension of your passion for the topic. So when you have discipline to write this book, you're not punishing yourself. You're giving yourself permission to play and to get your message out into the world and to help transform the lives of your readers. Keep your mind on that positive, life affirming end goal that your book is going to bring you. And it makes the discipline part of getting it done a whole lot easier. Tip number 2 is the power of micro commitments. Now, if you've heard about sales training, if you've heard any sales training at all, they'll talk about micro commitments. That's getting quick and easy yeses that build up to, so you get the free yes, and then you get the $27 yes, and then eventually you've got a $10,000 yes with some people. Well, that concept that works in sales works in almost every area of your life, including getting your book done. So if you are really struggling to move forward with your book, then make a micro commitment. Today, I will write 50 words. This week, I will write 50 words a day. And what I found, it's pretty crazy. You sit down, I'm going to write 100 words, and you think that's going to be hard. And then you sit down, and like about halfway into the 100 words, I know I jumped from 50 to 100. You get to the 50th word or so, somewhere around the middle. And all of a sudden, your juices are flowing, and the next thing you know, you've just spent 2 hours writing on your book, and you've written 1,000 words, and you only set off to write 100 words. So make a micro commitment, and as those micro commitments become easy, make them larger, and soon your book will be done. Now, if you are outlining your book, this becomes even easier because if you follow the methodology that I teach, you break down everything into bite-sized chunks so that you're not writing the entire book, you're writing this topic or this section or this chapter, which makes it a whole lot easier. So that's the power of micro commitments. Tip number 3 is to adopt a CEO mindset. Your book is a business initiative. What would a CEO do with a business initiative? He'd plan it out. He'd set aside assets in order to get it done. Do the same with your book. You are the CEO. Your book is a business initiative. Do what you would do to get any other business initiative done and get that book done. Number 4 is create a ritual, not a routine. Now, a lot of people talk about a writing routine. They have their daily pages. If you follow The Artist's Way, you have your daily word count, all that kind of stuff. And that's good and that works for some people, but some people need something else to kind of get their mind into flow. Now, I did do an episode of the Author Switch podcast where I talk all about flow and how to create a ritual that gets you into flow. I will put a link to that in the show notes. But basically what you're doing is you're creating a set of behaviors, small behaviors. Like, for example, my ritual to put on this podcast is I go into the kitchen and I make myself a cup of coffee. Then I come in here and I set up my ring light, I set up my microphone, I set up the backlights, I get my script together. It's like I have this set of things that I do in a particular order so that by the time, I mean, believe me, when I'm getting this cup of coffee, I am dragging because it is like 5:30 in the morning. But by the time I get here in front of the camera, because I've set up this ritual that gets my mindset to be, you are going to be on air with Coffee with Karma. Yo, get that energy up. That ritual helps me get to that point. Well, you can do the same thing to get yourself into your writing thing. And that can be anything from I get out my favorite pen and I get out my favorite notepad and I sit down and write. It can be that simple. Or it can be more elaborate. Like I light my vanilla scented candle or my pumpkin spice scented candle or my hunter forest, whatever flavor scent candle. The other day I found a candle that was scented as camping, and it smelled like a campfire. It was so cool. Anyway, I digress. So you just set up this little ritual, and it only needs to be about 3 to 5 things that you do in a particular order before you begin your writing. And what this does is it preps your brain to do what the task that's at hand. So, you would have a specific ritual that is for writing on a book, and you wouldn't use it for anything else, so that you get into the mindset of writing, but you might have a different ritual for getting on your podcast, or a different ritual for getting out on stage, or a different the ritual is somewhat specific in the type of task that you're gonna do. So there you go, and again, I will put a link to, the episode about getting into flow so that that can give you some more ideas as well. My 5th idea, my 5th tip is accountability equals progress. That means get someone else beside yourself holding you to your goals. This can be a friend. This can be a writers group. This can be a mentor. It doesn't matter if you're paying for it or if it's free. What matters is that you are accountable to whomever that person is to get whatever you said you're gonna get done. Now, yes, sometimes life happens and you don't get it done, so you don't want a soup Nazi as your as your mentor. Seriously, you do not want to have someone going, "You didn't get your well, I don't care that your mother-in-law is in the hospital and you had a birthday and all these other things happen. You need to get that done." Well, sometimes life happens and it throws you off a little bit. That's okay. What you want is someone who holds you accountable, but does so kindly, gently, lovingly, but sternly when you're just sloughing off to slough off. There you go. So there's 5 tips to help you find the discipline to write your book. So now I encourage you to go out, go forth and write your book and tell me all about it in the comments, and I will see you on Friday. On Friday, I will be talking about 5 key lessons from the silent movie Metropolis that will keep your writing engine running. Yes, this week is all about getting your book done. So, I will talk to you on Friday. Ciao for now.